I don't know that I've ever in my life seen as many millipedes as I've seen this year, or maybe in like 5 or 6 years together. It's pretty cool. Made it to Ziegler Preserve. This is another countryside conservancy property, and I don't really know what to expect over here. Sign down at the bottom basically said that, you know, stay on the trails. This trail is marked by the Lackawanna State Park, which is directly behind me, and there's a sign here saying that this is open to public, but this is private land. Ask permission before you hunt. So it is open for hunting. And oh, here's another sign right here. Oh, here's a map. Okay. So here we go. So Ziegler Preserve. We are right here. Ziegler Preserve is a big loop, but this does head over to Bull Hill, which is part of Lackawanna State Park. So this is where we are right now. Before we were, let's see. Well, it's not marked in here, but this is the Tunkhannock Creek. So the Messimer Preserve isn't on this map. It's right down in here. So we were over here before. So this little spot here, it's showing this little creek. That's right about where we're sitting on those rocks. So I think I'll go counterclockwise. Then once I get over to here, maybe I'll head up to Bull Hill. I think that's a plan. So the trail's going to start out going along this old stone wall. This appears to be a forest path, so no water over here, but that's okay. My first time here at the Ziegler Preserve, so it should be fun. This is an old stone wall. I'm trying to do this holding a bottle of water. Let me put that in my pocket. There we go. That's a little smoother. So, this is a very cool stone wall. This thing has been here for a while. So there will be a little road noise, at least for a little bit, since we're right along the main road here. So unlike the Messimer Preserve, this trail has actually got some blaze on it. Now the Messimer Preserve is completely separate from the Lackawanna State Park. Ziegler Preserve actually is adjacent to it, actually butts up to it over on the Bull Hill side. So it makes sense that this is a little more connected to the state park than the other. So this is a pretty cool little spot here, and I'll tell you why. So this, you see this stone wall here, and now on the other side of this is a meadow, which appears to be slowly being reclaimed by nature. This is probably a farming field, maybe as early ago as 20 years, 25 years, and that's what happens. I mean, maybe even less than that. But when you look in here, you can definitely tell up there's the stone wall goes up and then cuts out to the right, and then this is kind of open. Then the stone wall picks up there, and then I'm basically completely surrounded by this stone wall, and it goes down over the hill over here where I just came up. This reminds me of the property I grew up on, which was an old farm. So we had 73 acres of land, and there were sections like this that had been reclaimed by the forest. So I mean, this is probably an area for, I don't see a foundation or anything here, but this may have been a spot where they kept some livestock like pigs or maybe this was a smaller, who knows what they had here. There may have been a building here. This could have been where the house was. But this is kind of how our property was sectioned off. There was these big areas that they just sectioned off with stone walls like this. And so at one point, and I can see, looks like up above here, there's another stone wall. So this is cordoned off in another spot. But all these rocks, all these medium-sized rocks were all stacked by hand. There's no mortar, no cement. Those are just freestanding stone walls. Gives you an idea of how much stone there is in Pennsylvania, because there's still stone on the ground. There's a lot of stone here, like you can see it here, which makes me think that this wasn't used for any kind of crop, right? Because if it was, I mean, there's a good chance that this is just eroded, but I bet if we went out if we get out in here and you dug down a little bit, there'd be a lot less stone in there, because that had been turned over countless times. Yeah, so maybe 100 years ago, this was an active, maybe more, maybe 150 years ago, an active farm. And all this growth, all these trees in here that we're seeing, is fairly young. I mean, there's a couple that are big. Like, I don't know if you can make it out, like right, where is it on the camera here? So right there, that one. And that's a big tree. So that's been there for a while. It may have been there as a shade tree. Here's another one right here in front of me. Let's see, is that one right there? Right there, that's a big tree. So here's another good example. So we were just down there, or up on the other side of this, and you can see this is cordoned off here too. So all these little sections were meant for particular reasons. This is open, this is pretty big. I don't see another wall here for a while, but big trees here. So these were probably shade trees used as. So the big trees here are probably used as shade trees. They were just probably started growing in those rocks when they built that wall. No, maybe not. You can tell by the way that the rocks have grown around there, that they built it around that tree. And it's gotten a lot bigger since then. Here we go, here's a trail marker. Wasn't expecting that. Beware of poison ivy. Countryside Conservancy, conservation area, stagecoach. I'll have to pull up that map real quick. I don't remember seeing a split off here anywhere. Ziegler and stagecoach. Oh, I have to pull up the map. I don't think I'm at Bull Hill yet. Could be. I opted to stay on the Ziegler Trail. I went up that stagecoach a little ways, and it split off in like 3 different spots. I didn't see any blaze or anything like that, so it's not on the map. It's actually, even with the Google Maps, it shows me as not being on the Ziegler Trail now, even though I'm on the Blue Blaze Trail. So the Google Maps layout of that is not accurate. But I just came to a section here where I got post 17 pointing towards 16. So I wonder if this is a stagecoach. Yeah, this is a loop. There's no marker here that says what trail it is. I was able to pull up a map on, it's called Gaia GPS. I'll probably do a review on that shortly. Got a 1-year subscription to that through my Cairn subscription package, so I've been kind of testing that out. So I was able to pull a map on that, and it does show, it doesn't show the name, but it shows the stagecoach I don't know if that's coming out. I don't know. I lost it. It was like thread. That's that spider web. There's a spider web that was like thread. So it didn't show it by name, but showed the Stagecoach Trail, which up there is just a loop. So where I saw it split off must have been the end of the loop, but it wasn't marked. It shows that trail, but doesn't show the name. That goes up and kind of into the state park, out to Bull Hill, and then if I'm going straight, I'm gonna come down to the Bull Hill Trail. The Gaia GPS map is a lot more accurate than the Google Maps kind of outline of where this trail is. So again, I'll talk more about Gaia GPS in another video as I've been using it. There's some things I like about it, some things I don't, but they help me out here. All right, so here's actually a trail marker. Here's a trail marker with an actual sign. So this should be Bull Hill. Yes, okay. So Ziegler Preserve. Ziegler Preserve, here is the sign like down at the parking lot. And then here is the sign for Bull Hill. And this is the state park. So I've seen those in plenty of places before. Bull Hill, Pennsylvania State Park boundary. And maybe I'll go hiking there for a minute and go check that out. See what's what. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen as many millipedes in 1 year, or maybe in like 5 or 6 years together, as I've seen this year. They're everywhere. It's pretty cool. I hiked a little ways down the Bull Hill Trail. I got to this little split here. According to the map I'm looking at, this is the tree line trail. It's kind of cool as I'm looking ahead because it goes a little different than what you usually find here in Pennsylvania state parks. Actually, I don't even know if this is a trail or not, but down there is Lackawanna Lake. Kayak down there a bunch. But it looks like it's people have come out here, obviously, but maybe it's just for the view. That's definitely pretty cool. Gonna wrap this one up. I ducked down out of that field because the wind picked up, and nobody likes to listen to wind noise on a camera. So this is kind of an interesting trip for me because these are both local spots that I've heard of but never gone to. I want to hear about some places like that for you. Oh, my battery's dying. Some place like that around, you know, where you are. So leave a comment. What's a spot that is near you that you've seen, maybe heard of, but never gone and checked out? Have you gone there? Have you not? And if you haven't, maybe you haven't even looked for stuff like that, I encourage you to, because sometimes you can find local things that aren't the big attractions, not the state parks, not the state forests. They're just kind of new, small places. Check them out. You never know what you're going to find. So if you like this video, hit the thumbs up. Again, if you haven't already, subscribe. It does help out. It is free to do. And I'll see you next. Well, that's my stomach growling. I am hungry. Lunchtime. Okay. See you in the next.